additional parking across the street?
We have a memorandum of understanding that I've also talked to
We've asked for it
the
before, and we haven't received that either.
Well, I'd be happy to submit that as well, but a formal lease, because we're going forward, I'm not going to go through all of that. It's basically a license.
A what?
It's a lease. There's a difference between a lease and a license. A lease has to give up a total control. The gas station is basically giving up a license to use the property because they maintain control of the whole property.
You're basically a tenant at will.
It's not a lease agreement, it's a license agreement.
It's a tenant at will.
No, it's a license agreement. I can explain it to you, but it's not a tenant at will. It's because
Is it for a term, period of time?
it's for an indefinite period, the land that we can use it.
Can the owner of the property end it at any time also?
It would be, he could end it if he wanted, if he felt so, right now, yes. But we don't anticipate that's really part of it.
Because part of the reason, we do have to anticipate some of those things in our deliberations. You may not have to anticipate it, but we do.
Well, I'm happy, as I said, I'm happy to provide anything that would give you the security that you need.
All right, Mr. Vino.
Yes, Attorney, please correct me if I heard wrong. I believe I heard you say approximately 5 minutes ago you had a certified plan, but you did not bring it.
I didn't have a certified, I didn't say I had a certified plan.
What did you say you had?
I have a plan of the parking lot.
And you did not know until tonight that the parking was an issue? This is what I believe I heard you say. I find that, I have a hard time taking that in, because...
All I'm saying is that we don't have anything to go along with certifications. We don't have any requirement for it. And we're happy tonight, I'll have to have one go look at it, but there's no provision for it.
I understand that, but I guess I'll ask the question again. You have a copy of the parking plan that's there,
I have a speed.
and you didn't bring it? Nobody brought it tonight.
I'm sorry, the parking has changed since the copy Mr. Misery has got in his presence.
We don't have anything with
It has
that.
changed slightly.
Okay.
We're happy to have a certificate.
Well, this would be the time to have it,
I'll
ma'am.
do it for you.
Yeah,
I don't
this
have a
would be the
copy of
time to
any
have
plan.
it.
Just
Hold it. Through the chair, Mr. Ewing.
yeah,
You'll get your
point,
turn.
Joe, if I heard correctly, the fact that the property line for the parking in front of the establishment, that was just brought out tonight.
That's the first time I've heard
So
of
this
it.
is the first time we're hearing about it, and I think that's what she was referring to at that point in time, was that they did not know that that was part of the parking issue. The issue was whether it should be angled or parallel, was all the conversations that we've had. But in this case, now, it appears that whether they come up with a parking plan or not, they don't have the legal right to even park cars in front of the establishment as it is. That's what I'm reading into.
I don't know the answer.
Well, I mean, North Reading-
That's been alleged or cited by Sergeant Roman.
Right.
So, what I'd like to do now is, I know people have been sitting here anxiously waiting to talk. So the way we're going to do it is, I'm sure there's proponents and there's opponents. We're going to alternate, okay? So we're going to start with, an individual that is opposed to this license. One at a time, through the chair, your name and address when you get to the... 2 minutes.
Sharon Burns, 7 Wright Street. Mr. Chairman, gentlemen of the board. I understand that the parking is a big problem there, and these are pictures that I have taken from the beginning of the first 2 weeks of November. I have copies here. They're in rolls of 4. I'm sorry I couldn't get them together faster for you. I tried to get the date stamp put on these gentlemen, but I was unable to do so because I'm not literate with the digital. But I did bring in the little diggy thingy that does show the date stamp on it, and it'll show you the dates that those were taken. As you can see, gentlemen, the angle parking was a big problem, but not only the angle parking itself, gentlemen, it was also the fact that they're double parking outside of Mike Hattery's,
No.
lot also. This is a very big concern for us as a neighborhood, as you know, is public safety. Now, I was supplied earlier today with the measurements of some of the lines that were drawn in this parking lot, which are haphazard in my opinion. I have 7 feet by 18 feet, 8.5 feet by 18 feet, 8 feet by 15 feet, 8 feet by 16.5 feet, and 9 feet by 16 feet 2 inches. All are substandard for what you would consider for public parking. The greatest concern I have, gentlemen, is placing alcohol in this corner. As you know, it impairs judgment among other cognitives. I can't see this taking place at this corner, gentlemen. I really can't, because public safety is upmost. I further think that it's going to be incurred to us as taxpaying citizens and to this town, of course. Someone will be accountable, and that accountability, I feel, will be on this town, and it will run down to the taxpayers. I also have concerns for the loss of my peace and enjoyment to my home, due to the elements that this alcohol will bring into the neighborhood. On top of that, the traffic flow problem, due to what they have for parking over there, is going to be generated. They're approximately about 75 feet to 100 feet to the first parking lot, and probably about 125 feet to the second half of that parking lot, adjacent to that corner. We all know that there's a visibility problem from that corner coming out of Park East. We also know that with the angle parking prior to that, there used to be turning into oncoming traffic to bypass the cars that were sticking out on public way. That has now been since cleared up. Although they placed 4 signs that stated angle parking there, and now that they thought that they had parallel parking, there has been not one signage whatsoever. It's quite clear to me that they're here for their business, gentlemen. I'm here to protect my home, my family, and this town's center of community. I feel that our children are very much a part of this because they generate 60 to 70% of the foot traffic in this area. Okay? I also feel that as we, as the responsible parties before this board, okay, what are we possibly relaying to our children, especially after that Facebook incident that took place recently that put our town right on the 6 o'clock news, and I feel bad for our police department because they work quite diligently at trying to deter such incidents. Okay? I also find...
Wrap it up.
I'm trying to wrap it up, sir. I'm trying to go as fast as I can.
Well, there's a lot of people
I
here.
also find, gentlemen, that for what all that this is going to place onto our town with liabilities, public safety issues, traffic flow issues, the issues of our school children that generate 60 to 70% of this, okay, I do not understand why this does not outweigh what they're going to offer us for a service. We have plenty of restaurants in this area that offer alcohol. I don't think that alcohol is going to be their best bet. We had brothers that operated in this town for years and was quite lucrative and never once asked for an alcohol license and offered this town something. With alcohol at that corner and with all what we have against it, I think it's nothing more, with all due respect, gentlemen, okay, adding insult to injury. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you all for giving me the 2 minutes, and I hope I spelled out as much as I could, because there was a lot more I would have liked to have said.
You also
Thank you very
talked for
much.
more than 2 minutes.
Thank you very much.
Proponents. Any proponent want to speak?
Tricia Canola, 186 Haverhill Street. I think some of this might be a bit disjointed, but I'll say at the outset that I've only been in this establishment a few times. Didn't even know the owners' names. I'm a lifelong resident of North Reading, and I guess there's times that I've had to come to terms with the changes that have taken place in North Reading over the years into our quaint little center. Some of them being the expansion of the bench, the expansion of Molly's / Ryers into a larger establishment. And that it's just one of those things as a lifelong resident that I've just had to come to terms with. The town center should be vibrant. It is far from vibrant because there's nothing. It rolls up with 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Riders might close at 9, but then it rolls up. It'd be really nice to be able to, on a nice night, take a walk down the center, have a nice meal, have a glass of wine, have a beer, and walk home. We can't do that. It's kind of tough to walk to 28 from any place this side, on that side of town. Sorry, I forgot where I was. As far as public safety is concerned, I know I hear all the issues with the parallel parking, the blah, blah, blah parking in front of that building. Those parking spaces, whether it was a restaurant, a hairdresser, a this or that, have been there for years. Yes, maybe it might make that corner a little bit better, but I would guarantee you that there is much more traffic going into, with all due respect, into Dunkin' Donuts than there is into gatherings. As far as children and foot traffic, and again, with all due respect to establishments in the center of town, wine tastings at another local establishment that are going to take place on every Friday night from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night. Across the street from 2 schools, if it continues through the winter seasons, there will be wine tastings on an extremely busy corner with lights, with limited parking, with no other off-street parking during basketball games on Friday night, where I think the JV games start at 5 o'clock. And the varsity games start at 7 o'clock. Talk about children being in the environment. They're there all the time. You're going to have the kids that are going to hang out in Christopher's parking lot. We all see it in the police blotter. I don't think they're going to be hanging out in front of gatherings. And if they do, they should be moved, just as they're moved from the parking lot in front of that. And I'll end by saying this, and it will not be nice. It won't be appreciated by some people. There's been a lot of things that have gone on in this town in the last 10 or 15 years. And one thing that's got to stop is not in my backyard, you won't put it.
Have any other opponents that want to speak? Yes, ma'am. Oh.
My name's Gwendolyn Delino. I live at 98 Park Street, North Reading. That's 5 houses down in the area. I've been there to eat. It's all right. But it's definitely not a safe environment for alcohol. Parking has, they said they fixed it. I driven by there the other day. There's still angle parking. They're not parallel parking. And I come back a couple hours later, they might move 1 or 2 cars, and they'll go back to parallel parking. But it's not consistent. They're double parking. They get truck delivery on the corner. My son drives to school. He has to go out Mount Vernon down Havel Street because he almost got hit from the cars coming and going out of it. It's not safe. All right? Sidewalk, you can't walk down because when they did 62 over, we lost our sidewalk across the street from me. I can't walk down there. It's too hard. All right? It's not safe. Basically, it's not. We drive Sunday morning, Saturday morning, if we want to get donuts or muffins down at Dunkin'. We go out Mount Vernon, Havel Street, down Park Street to go to Dunkin' Donuts because it cannot get in and out. We go around the block. Now, is that fair?
Very good.
And as far as calling, I've called the cops a number of times. Sat out there beeping, and some idiot was pulling out, almost hit me. I had a delivery truck squeeze me in. He pulls up on my right side. I don't want to take a right turn. And I got an idiot pulling out, backing into me, so I'm trying to go to my right, and this truck